Can you please tell us a little about yourself?
My name is Mikala King, and I am the director of the TJ Swift House Ascend program.
Can you please tell us a bit more about Missouri State West Plains and the surrounding community?
So right now our campus is about 1,900. We have only about less than 200 that live on campus. Our average class size is 13 to 15 students, which again for our demographic works out perfectly. It's not as overwhelming with a large group. It is smaller groups and your professors know you and know you by name, which is really good. It is located in Missouri State University West Plains campus. West Plains is a small rural community that is south central Missouri. Our population is about 12,000. Our campus is a 2-year university. We're umbrellaed under Missouri State in Springfield. And our Ascend program has only been in existence for about 2 years.
What are some of your key focus areas within the Ascend program?
So our goal and approach for our Ascend students is really to focus on 3 main areas: academic, social, and then daily living supports. And each one of those are tailored individually to the student.
Can you please share more about academic support services?
Our academic goals we meet weekly, if not more, again, depending on what our students need with our support coordinators. Those are really things to hit with that executive functioning, management, strategies, and skills to put things in place to make sure that they're successful in their academic, whatever degree that they go into. And then we help as a secondary advisor, really to add that self-advocating piece to them, coaching them what do you need to do with disability services? How do you need to meet with professors ahead of time? To scheduling your class. If you're not a morning student, can we, work through classes and make sure that they're advocating for those pieces? And then obviously as they're on campus, tailoring or weaning those supports off as they grow more and more independent and more confident about what they can do. Because really that's the whole goal, is being able to help them have that confidence and transition to go on outside of when they're at the Ascend program.
How about supporting social connectedness?
And then we hit a social piece. We have what we call Ascend Allies, which are peer mentors on campus. All of our allies go through trainings to make sure they understand what autism and neurodiversity is and how to best help our students. And that's on a volunteer basis, our peer mentors are. And then we do a Ascend social once a month. We encourage our students to be involved on campus and be involved in clubs, but a lot of times they need that smaller environment to kind of help start that. So we provide an Ascend social once a month that we meet with and do different things, that we survey students and see what they would like. And so our allies and our Ascend students come to that.
How about supporting daily living skills?
And then the last piece is our daily living skills. And that kind of encompasses different things. One of the main pieces that we find is helpful to our students is campus move-in day is very overwhelming. It's very overstimulating, and it can kind of rattle you right before school for our autistic community. So what housing has allowed us to do is have an early move-in day for our Ascend students if they choose that. So the Friday before campus move-in day, if our students choose, they can move into the residence life a day early, kind of get settled, kind of get their feet underneath them a little bit. And then Saturday during that campus move-in day, we bring them up to the Ascend classroom. And so while the chaos is happening, really start helping them transition to that first week of school. What does that look like? How do you introduce yourself? What does rooming look like? And really begin to just walk them through those things to help get that routine, I guess, if you will, in your mind. And then what we do is we also provide sensory spaces. However, we know that sometimes on campus, our students really get overwhelmed and rattled. And so at that point, we have a breakout room that our students can utilize at any point. We have anything from a massage chair to a crash pad to a swing to fidgets, things like that, that gives them kind of that environment to reset.
How large is the Ascend program?
And so we have 3 current students at the moment. We have 15 for next semester, so we've had a huge growth, which we're really excited about. We keep our goal is to keep 1 to 10 students ratio per support coordinator. So we are not limiting as far as how many students at this point. But we will try and keep that 1 to 10 ratio per support coordinator. We feel like that's a good amount to make sure we give the necessary supports that our students need.
How much does the Ascend program cost per semester?
We typically charge $3,000 above and beyond tuition. However, we've been able to receive a grant for the next 2 calendar school years. So I am not charging program fees, which is a huge, I think why you see such a growth right now is because paying for programs like mine is challenging for students who want to go to college, but desperately need those supports to make sure that they're successful.
You are in the process of building a new facility on campus right now, correct?
We were able to receive funding from the state to do a new autism building. So our building will be called Autism Neurodiversity Center. And this will house not only a classroom that we teach new incoming paraprofessionals or going on further as teachers about autism. The classroom is designed for autistic individuals. The flexibility, the flexible seatings, the different heights on tables, even the classroom space has a lowered ceiling height in one area that makes it more confined, gives you a little bit more of that small space setting, as well as there's swings in the classroom. Everything lighting wise is dimmable. Everything from texture to the walls, to the ground, to the furniture have been made sure that there is not a texture issue for our students. And then also we will have office spaces, a conference room. We will have 3 breakout rooms in the Ascend building. Each will be offering different elements of kind of that de-escalating piece. And then they will also have kind of bank out areas where they can do homework, bring in their laptops, hook up, be able to almost use it as a computer lab. And then we will also have an outdoor garden space with a water feature. So our students who love that element that still needs to be outside, but kind of that closed environment, we will have that as well. So we're ecstatic about our new building and really see the potential growth in what we could do as far as even with our community right now.
What does the Ascend program application process entail?
So our application process, we require you to obviously apply to Missouri State West Plains and be admitted. And then we have a separate application process. You can find that on our website. And that application is a form that you fill out online. We do require either an ASD diagnosis and documentation of that, or another neurodiverse diagnosis. So that could be ADHD, anxiety, depression, dyslexia. So although we focus mainly on autism, what we have found is a lot of those supports that are needed overlap with different diagnoses. So we don't want to open it up too broad, but we do that case by case basis. So we require that documentation, and then we also require their most current IEP. We also send out a part of the application. They have to list a teacher. And so what we do is we send out a parent perspective form and a teacher perspective form. So once we receive that, we schedule an interview with our students. We ask them differing questions just about them, kind of who they are, what their goals are. We talk about housing a lot, and then we do some scenario-based questions. And then once the interview is completed, we make sure we've got all the applications, everything, documentation, everything. And then we meet as a team, and then we send an acceptance letter.
And what happens after the student is accepted to Ascend?
So we have a separate form that's a checklist. We go through all of those. We have hyperlinks to help students just directly get to either a housing application or the FAFSA or disability services or things like that. So we really want to be that next step as soon as they say, yes, I want to be an Ascend student.
Not all of your students come right from high school, right?
MSU West Plains is very non-traditional. We do not have an age cutoff as far as that goes. So a lot of other programs end at age 26 to be a part of programs like ours, and we do not. So we have several non-traditional students that are coming in and that didn't think they could go to college and didn't think that they could be successful and are now coming back and seeing because they want to further themselves in their career.
Can we go a bit deeper on academic supports?
So our support coordinator is Tanya Miller right now, but Tanya meets with our students once a week, if not more, for about an hour. And what she does is they go through and have the students pull up their syllabus on the different classes that they're over. They go through kind of a weekly tracker of homework, which the student initially can do on their own, or she helps them do that. She creates visual schedules for them to make sure. We have some students that need built-in homework time. They're not necessarily really good about managing their time with homework. And that's one of the things that we found that has been a success for us, is to help our students build in that time. We also encourage them to come to the Ascend classroom, to not go back to their dorm, because sometimes there's way more distractions than helps back there. So we encourage them to come to our Ascend classroom, work on their homework. We have a quieter space. We have computers in there. And then we have some students that really need extra accountability. So after they complete an assignment, they want to come back and just check in and say, hey, I got this finished. Let's check this off of our list. So she helps with that time management, that organization. If students need to reach out to professors, she helps them figure out those channels. We help with applying for scholarships.
The Ascend program also offers its own classes too, right?
Our campus does not have class on Fridays, so we have created our own Ascend class. And what that looks like is we talk about broad topics. We talk about career readiness skills. We talk about healthy relationships. We talk about housing. We have our graphic designer who is autistic come and share what it's like to be an autistic individual and maybe some of the things that he struggles with. We have our school counselor come, and she talks about stress management, and they come about once a month and do different sessions. Another thing we do with our academic class is we also do some volunteering. We have found that a lot of our students, if they do not have, or they have not had jobs, have not volunteered. So as we are working on career readiness and resumes, they don't have anything to put down for a volunteer service or things like that. So we volunteer in different capacities throughout the year and allow them, obviously give them something to be able to put on their resume also as a volunteer status.
What housing options are available for Ascend students?
So as far as our students right now, the majority of our students live on campus. Our housing residence life is about a block from campus. So they commute back and forth, either walking or driving, either one. Most students on campus tend to just walk to campus. So we really only have one housing option for campus, and it is called the Grizzly Lofts. They are in a 4-person suite, but they are typically only 2 people. So one in one room, one in another, with a shared bathroom space. And so that's what our students do. What we have found is definitely a challenge with housing. A lot of our students haven't shared bedrooms with siblings or things like that. So just understanding those social cues and things like that can sometimes be challenging. So we talk with our students about that.
How do you help students adjust to the changes that college brings?
So one of the ways that we're switching that this year is we are doing 4 Zoom meetings over the summer to kind of help that onboarding process and to make sure that our students can think through what housing is going to look like. What does our first week of class look like? How much work is it going to be? How much homework do I have to be? For 12 years, typically most students have had the same routine. They get up, they go to school, they're at school all day, and now all of a sudden you're at college and your schedule could look totally different. So how does that look like for them, and how can we start getting them to understand what it means to time manage, what it means to set your own schedule and what that looks like. So that's part of our onboarding process that we're going to do with the summer.
How do you communicate with parents?
We do have a release for our students, if they choose to sign it, that we can communicate with parents. And so we communicate with parents about 3 times a semester. But really, that is general statements. We don't go over grades. We don't go over anything that we've not communicated with our student during that one-on-one coaching time. But we do, a lot of times, the first call we get from parents is, I haven't heard from my kid in a week. Is he still alive? And so we want to but we want to communicate with parents that, yes, they're succeeding. Yes, they're learning all those fun things.
And you work closely with the faculty there too, right?
Our class size is an average of 13 to 15 students. So our professors know our students by name. And what I love most about this campus is our faculty and staff go through a neurodiversity training every year, and sometimes multiple times per year, so that we can make sure that, obviously we're coaching and trying to help our students make sure that they're successful, but we're really coaching our professors on how to make sure our students are successful. Because the reality is, we have a lot of college students who have autism or other hidden disabilities that don't disclose and are not a part of the Ascend program. And so we want to make sure that even those students are successful. So our faculty and staff have been eager to learn, and they will call us, hey, I have this situation. How do you think I can best help? So not only do they go through trainings, but one of the things our support coordinator does is at the end of each semester, sometimes year, sends out a survey to our faculty and staff that have had Ascend students, and that just goes over, okay, what was a success point? What was a challenge? What was something that you can say that we're doing for future? And even this semester, as we sent out one to a professor, he replied back and said, we would love for you to be a part of the faculty senate monthly, so that we can make sure that our faculty, if they have questions or if there's something that you see that we could be doing better in a certain situation, we'd love for you to be a part of. So I've been thoroughly impressed with how our faculty and staff have been engaged in that way.
Any student success stories you'd like to share?
One of our students all the way through high school had a one-on-one para, and lives in town and was unsure if he could be successful at college. And right now he is taking 9 hours, and his ultimate goal is to live on campus to where he can be full-time. But we have been super impressed at how much growth he has had. I had another student who didn't think he could go to college and got a job. And when he heard about the program, thought, I want to come and see if I can try. I'd love to be in IT. So he came, and he has made the esports team and is thriving with the esports and thriving with his computer programming degree, and really he's excited about moving on to a 4-year university. And then my last student, which we laugh about all the time, comes from Wyoming, which seems so odd, so far away, but they didn't have an autism program close to him, and he really wanted to go to college. And he does have family relatively close, and so parents have come down to see if he, if this is something that he could do. And of course we're very, very nervous. And I think, to be honest, he was a little nervous too, but yeah, he is thriving this semester. And again, one of those parents that were like, is my kid still there? Haven't heard from him, where he's just been so involved. He's gotten involved with even the high school sports. He loves high school sports. So he's gone and connected with the athletic director and been involved there. So our students are thriving and really enjoying life at college. Sometimes to the point where we're like, hey, don't forget, we gotta get stuff done. But we're excited to see what comes from these new students next semester. So
a big thanks to Mikala King and the Ascend program at Missouri State West Plains. For more information, please visit the program's website, and remember to subscribe to Inclusive Academia.